Hi there, welcome back. My name is Sheldon McLeod. This is Thinking Out Loud, presented to you here exclusively by the Saltwire Network. And I had an email last week, pointing me to an event that's taking place Thursday, September 8th, Voices of Hope, a virtual World Suicide Prevention Day panel. Voices of Hope is going to draw attention to the men's mental health on World Suicide Prevention Day. And there are a number of people who are scheduled to speak at this event, including someone I have here to join us today. Brad Rowe is on the line. Hi there, Brad. How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad, Sheldon.
It's nice to speak with you. What do you have a role within the Mental Health Association of Nova Scotia?
I actually don't. I work for an organization called Healthy Minds Cooperative. We're a mental health nonprofit, a little unique in that everything we do is peer-led. So everybody who works for us self-identifies as having lived experience with mental illness or addictions challenges.
What are you seeing as far as that conversation? Where's it heading? Are we tend to try and talk about destigmatizing, but yet that doesn't come easily.
I think for me the biggest challenge is that we don't have the conversation. We don't have candid conversations, and especially with men. I think there's a huge stigma surrounding mental illness, and then there's also that stigma of men and mental illness and expressing feelings and emotion. So I think the big challenge is really normalizing the conversation.
And what does that sound like to you? What does that normalization sound like?
Well, for example, in the group that I run a men's peer support group. We talk very candidly, very openly about what happens, what we've experienced. So, for example, we had an individual came in and said, last week I wanted to kill myself. And we talked about, the things that they had done to sort of work with those feelings. We also really talked about the reality that, this is a symptom of depression. And in the group, there was about 7 of us, and everybody sort of started sharing, when I was thinking those things, when I was experiencing that, this is what I did. And it became a very normal conversation of people sharing their experience. And when I say normalize, I'm not talking about, that as something that we should promote, but it's something that we should talk about without fear. There's always that concern that, if I talk about you wanting to die, then you'll go do it. And the reality, best practice and evidence-based practices, and my own personal experience is that being very candid. Like when I talk with people, I don't talk about being wanting to hurt yourself or wanting to harm yourself. I ask the question of do you want to die today? And that's I've yet to have a scenario where that goes wrong, and it opens people up, because one of the other challenges is that people can spend a long time feeling hopeless and not wanting to live. And again, I found we just don't talk. And the other real challenge with men is that, and this is of course a generalization, but we're not taught how to express our feelings. And in fact, some of the symptoms of depression, anger, frustration, irritability, these are characteristics that we almost accept as in a man. That aggressive, angry person, while it's not, people don't like it, as a man, oftentimes behaving that way becomes accepted. It's almost a normal thing.
It can be a shield. And to that point, if you've ever had someone in your life say, I'm not feeling well, I don't want to live, it seems counterintuitive to ask, have you made a plan? But to your point, to bring that to the conversation, to open that up, it might be shocking to say those words out loud, but to hear the answer, I mean, that's pretty much, that is what intervention is.
It is, and again, I think the big challenge, and I think things like mental health first aid and assist train people to have those conversations, and it is really an awkward and uncomfortable conversation. I'm concerned about you. You've probably been behaving a little off, so I don't quite know how you're going to react. So it's probably a conversation that I want to avoid. But I mean, I found, asking the question of, what's your plan? Do you have a plan? It opens the door to talk about, what they're experiencing right now, and also for them to share, that they're not alone. And you can talk about options, and you can talk about making a plan, and shifting that focus to I don't see any options and I'm hopeless, to at least I have something and somebody who's actually listening.
The Voices of Hope, drawing attention to men's mental health on World Suicide Prevention Day. What are you hoping will come of this? What are you hoping people who sign up for it will be able to take away from this, Brad?
Well, I think, and from the other panelists, I mean, it's people who've all had very direct and even personal experiences. And again, for me, I think it's that very, I use the phrase candid and open conversation about it. And the fact that people can maybe walk away feeling that there are some options, that there are some things out there, and that there is maybe a way to provide support or even get support.
We have come a long way. There's still a long ways to go. And as you pointed out, Healthy Minds Cooperative. I don't want to leave without asking you a little bit more about your initiative and the peer support that you're offering there. How does one become involved? How do you find the people who need help?
Well, quite honestly, as a small organization, that's one of our challenges. We don't have a huge marketing budget, but we promote ourselves on social media, word of mouth, and connecting through other community organizations and healthcare professionals. But for me, the big piece is that it's just a matter of giving us a call or going to our website and sending us a message. There's no fee. It's for everybody, and our real focus is supporting a very healthy, informed conversation. And one of the things that I found, I started as a member of the co-op before I actually started working, and it was like walking into a completely different world where I didn't feel the need to explain everything that I was experiencing. If I said I had a bad day, nobody sort of questioned it. They allowed me the space to be me. And so that sense of non-judgment and acceptance, and also the reality of talking with people who have had their own experiences, have gotten through it, and being able to sort of learn from that and be comfortable with that, for me, is that huge piece.
Well, I know the statistics are stark. We don't tend to talk about them in a public way, and I've heard others describe this as an epidemic in many ways, and one that we need to start putting more attention on.
Well, I think the numbers, like for example, StatsCan talks about 11 people a day die by suicide, and 75% of those are male. So I think it's roughly every week 50 men die by suicide. And That's the documented cases.
Hmm.
So I mean, an epidemic. If there was something else that was having such a dramatic impact, 4,000 people a year, 4,000 Canadians a year,
Yeah.
and how do we address it? And it's something that's quite honestly, it's kept in a dark corner, and we don't talk about until after the fact.
Voices of hope. Voices of hope. There's always hope. Thank
There
you
is.
for helping us understand what it is that you do, the group that you're involved with, and the upcoming seminar. We'll invite people to go online. It is free to register, and obviously it is confidential. So if you are interested, the Canadian Mental Health Association, Google search for the Nova Scotia chapter. And Brad, it's a pleasure to meet you this way, and I really do wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you for having me, Sheldon, and you have a great day.